Hi everyone, I am so excited to share with you today one of my all-time favorite things, and that is wrapping presents. I love it. I love ideas of wrapping packages in fun and interesting ways. Sorry, I had to pick up some boxes that fell on the floor. It just makes me so happy. I just absolutely love it. So we are going to get started with some fun papers that I have been getting in. So first paper I'm going to share with you. You can get all the nice stuff here. Is this amazing paper from Quinn Studio. Quinn is a local artist, and she's kind of a minimalist artist. She uses like fun shapes, leaving the interpretation up to the viewer, which I think is just really cool. So that being said, there is so much you can do with this paper. I'm really excited to share with you all the fun ideas. So what we're going to do here is we're going to go ahead and wrap our present. Now, I am, for those of you that know me really well, or that have received a present from me, actually, you will know how big a fan I am of hot glue. So we are going to be using that today because I love it. Alright, but the very first thing I'm going to do, actually, is I'm going to cut a little strip of this paper off because I want to use some of it later. Especially when you don't need all of it. Oh, and I see my strip here is not quite even, but that's okay. But if you're, don't need all of the paper for a project, you can always kind of think of fun and creative ways to use bits and pieces, even if you have a little bit of a scrap, but it's a really fun paper. You can use that as a kind of a focal point in a future project. So we're going to save this strip and use it in another package. So, what we have left here, we're going to go ahead and wrap this up. And like I was saying, I'm a huge fan of hot glue. The reason why is because it's just so fast, you can just stick it down. If you're not a fan of hot glue, that's fine. Where I use hot glue in some cases like this, you can replace it with Scotch tape instead. You can just use a bit of tape in place. I love hot glue because it's really strong. And it dries quickly, so it really gets the job done. Alright, so I'm going to go ahead and just glue this down. Noticed here I put glue there, so then that way I can just go ahead and press this in place. So it's a little bit below that little lip. I didn't want any glue to be showing. So what's nice about hot glue is that you get a nice clean look. Also, tips for using hot glue, you can squirt a little bit out, and then instead of having that long string that follows it, what I do is I usually squirt a little bit of hot glue, and then I kind of pick it up just a little bit, and then I kind of pull it back really fast, and it kind of breaks that string. So you'll see me do that a lot. Okay, so then we're going to go ahead and fold this over like we normally would wrap a present. So hopefully all of you already know how to wrap a present, so I don't have to walk you through how to do that part. And then, once again, I get to this. Oops. Okay, so I'm going to go ahead and I want to glue this in place. Just going to stick a little bit of glue on the back side of that little strip there. Edge. I'm going to fold this in. We're going to cover all these little wrinkles and things that I just put in here. I'm putting glue along this edge right here. So on one hand, it does make it less likely for you to be able to reuse the wrapping paper by using hot glue. But again, it does leave a nice clean look without all that tape around, which I love so much. Alright, and I'm going to bring that down here. And glue that in place. Ah, so much better. Alright, now we have our fun package. So now we get to go to the fun part. My most favorite part, and that is ribbon selecting. So look at all of these fun ribbons I found to use for this package. Look how exciting these are. Aren't these just so much fun? So I wanted to find ribbons that were kind of in the most monochromatic tone, but picking up colors that were already in the paper. So when you're picking out ribbons and paper colors, I always think about texture. Oh, all the fun textures. And they also think about large patterns and small patterns. So I'm going to refer to this as a texture, but also a small pattern here. And so, which is just fantastic for laying on here, because our background here, we have chunks of solid, but we also have a large pattern. Then we have solids here. I'm going to refer to this as a large pattern, or in this case, a medium pattern. We have large, medium, small pattern. And then we have some other fun little, this isn't necessarily a texture, it's just a solid color but has a little bit of a shimmer in it. And then here we have a solid that has a tiny little bit of a texture in it. So all of these colors here are in this paper. And what's wonderful about these ribbons is that you have a focal point, and that's going to be this bright gold here. And what's interesting is that you can still play around with these colors here. In this case, I would say the focal point would probably be the textured ribbon, but by bringing that leaf ribbon in that gold, you're really getting that fun kind of celebratory kind of feel with the packaging. So when putting these together, oh, there's so much you can do. So much. I'm going to start just with a really basic wrap here, just so I don't overwhelm you too much. But honestly, package wrapping is one of my all-time favorite things. In fact, I have many friends that can attest to me spending a time after they've arrived for parties while I'm still in the back room putting Christmas presents together, because I want the wrapping to be super fun. Alright, so I just did a little bit of hot glue at the bottom here just to hold that in place. Of course, you can see it might stand that just a little bit because I put that on just as it was still a little bit wet. But that's okay, because we're going to cover that up in just a moment. I'm just going to wrap it around to the front here. I'm going to tie a knot. Now this is the part where you're always, it's kind of driving you crazy, right? You're like, oh, I need a finger. If you actually take that and go under a second time, and then kind of twist it a little bit, that's going to stay in place for you to go ahead and wrap your second knot in place here, and then kind of untwist it a little bit, and there you have your little wrap. So we're just going to do that kind of with our longer strings here. I love this burgundy ribbon, and I love here that we have our light and dark tones picking up this kind of pattern that's already kind of going on with Quinn's paper. So much fun. This is a darker ribbon here, so I'm going to go ahead and put just a little dab of hot glue right here in the middle, and then I'm going to go ahead and place this right here in the middle of that larger ribbon texture, or the larger ribbon width, adding that texture in here in that solid. Oh, isn't it so much fun already? Oh my gosh, I just love this. Okay, then bringing this around. And I'm gonna bring everything here to my focal point, and just kind of tie this underneath here. So I, once again, am just a really big fan of monochromatics, textures. I just love all of that. So I may incorporate like a fake flower. I love to incorporate fake flowers into packaging. You can find fake flowers pretty much anywhere. However, I do not carry them, interestingly enough, at least not yet. Down the road I probably will. And you can always cut your little ribbons down with the little chevron or the little angle there. And then I'm going to go ahead and just kind of add in right here my focal point, add in some more of my fun ribbons here. Maybe I'll tie some fun bows. Again, kind of adding to my fun kind of textures and my focal points. And I just love love ribbon. So I have a ton of them, and I oftentimes have scraps of ribbons laying around. So this is a really great opportunity to use ribbon scraps that you may also have laying around your craft room. So I want to just continue to add on to this. So I did a bow, I tied a little knot, and I'm going to add another bow. All right, and I'm going to tie a little knot here, and that's going to go ahead and finish off my bow there. Again, I'm just going to go ahead and add my little angle here and my little angle there, just so my ribbon looks a little bit more fun. Now, I love this textured ribbon. I'm going to just tell you right now that I highly suggest just make it go twice as far and cut a little strip here and just cut it right in half lengthwise. So then that way you get that fun texture, but you can use it in a couple different presents, or you can even just make double the fun and add even more fun texture to your project here. Since I went this way with my last ribbon grouping here, I'm going to go this direction with this ribbon grouping here. And what I'm going to do here, since I don't necessarily want to block off my little focal point there, I'm actually going to tie this on the side here, on this little strip down here on the bottom. I'm going to tie that in a knot, but kind of bring it to that focal point center here. And then, since I got my handy dandy glue gun here, I'm going to just bring this middle point right here, right to the center. So I'm going to go ahead and put a little dab of hot glue. Make sure you don't burn yourself. And if that means by grabbing like a little wooden skewer, which I'm going to grab right now. Yes, that was things falling. All right, I'm going to go ahead and press this in place here. And that way I don't have to get my fingers gluey, but I can go ahead and press that glue into place. All right, and then I'm going to do the same thing again on this side. I just want to share with you that I have about 1,000,000 ideas to share with you on present wrapping. So I'm going to just go ahead and quickly finish this up, but I could just go and go and go. Add fake flowers, add more tags, oh, all the fun stuff. And we are going to add tags to things, but there's just a lot that I want to share. All right, so I'm going to go ahead and finish this off here by adding in some of my fun leaf ribbon. What's great about this leaf ribbon is you can literally just rip it. It's just so great. And once again here, I'm actually not going to tie this because it's going to be really awkward to try and tie. But I'm going to go ahead and just glue it in place. And again, just like I was doing with that textured ribbon. So I'm going to put my little, the end here, the cut edge right in there. And then I'm going to press in this one here from underneath and wrap again and press this one in here with my little skewer end, pressing in that single leaf into place. And then again, my little end here, my little ripped end actually, I'm going to press that in there. We'll get our fun little leaf texture in there. All right, now we have our fun focal point there. We have our cute little ribbons. All right, and then any little extra little thing you wanted to add, any little tag or anything, we can go ahead and string that in place. I know I have a tag around here somewhere. Let me see if I can find it. A series of tags. Here we go. So we have our cute little tag here, and on this little grosgrain end with that little diagonal end, we'll just go ahead and slide that in place. So what I love about the little tag is that if you have any of these little shapes, like the fun leaves, you can trim a couple of the little gold leaves down here, and then glue them onto your little tag. So put a little dollop of glue there, and stick our little leaves in place. Isn't that cute? And then you can write your little message. Isn't that fun? Oh, it's so cute. You do have a second to work with that while it dries. All right, so that is my first fun packaging idea to share with you. Oh my gosh, I love these colors. It makes me so happy. All right, on to the next idea. So the next one I wanted to share with you is using these fun papers. I love these handmade papers, the blue one here and the purple one. So gorgeous. start with the blue paper. Now, this paper was a little bit damaged by the light here, so I'm going to put that damaged part right in the middle. So it looks a little bit more meant to be there. Down. And then with the end here, I'm going to go ahead and trim this other edge down. So I can save all this handy paper for another project. No point in using too much if I don't have to. Okay. Alright, so I'm going to go ahead and glue this in place. Now, since I really, I don't want to have to see this part of the paper that's a little bit light damaged, so I'm going to go ahead, this is light damaged right here at the very end, so I'm going to go ahead and fold that over so I can't see that. And then here, the damaged part ends kind of right here where you can stop seeing the paper there, so I'm actually going to fold that over. Oops. Alright, I'm going to make that crease right here in the middle here, so I'm going to add just a tiny little bit of glue just right there. Just enough there to hold that in place. Alright, so now I'm going to go ahead and put this down, put the sides in place here. This is a nice lighter weight paper here, so I'm actually going to fold this in so I get that nice clean edge of that triangle. I want that to kind of land right up against the edge of my paper here, or the edge of my box rather, up in the corner there. Okay. And I'll do the same thing here on this end. Okay. So, have my seam here in the middle. Oh, number good. Okay, press that up to the top. Alright, so I have my seam right here in the middle, but on the front, it's all nice and clean. Alright, so now I'm going to get out that fun purple paper here. I love this paper so much. So I only need to cut a strip so that I can wrap it around this card, all the way around the front and then to the back side. So I'm just going to cut myself a little strip. Now, although this is such a large sheet of paper, and I could be really particular about how clean I am with my edge, I'm not really going to worry about how straight that is, because it's such an awkward large piece of paper. So I'm going to go ahead and just cut that down. Set my paper to the side here. Okay, so now I'm going to go ahead and fold that kind of cut edge there over, and I'm going to line up the left and right, so then those are straight up against their edges there. Okay. All right, so now it should be straight on the left and on the right. Okay. Now I'm going to fold it to the corner. So now I get that fun strip of paper there. And also want to make sure that it's going to be a nice size. So we're making this probably about, oh, I would say it's about 1.5 inches wide. Maybe almost 2 inches wide. So that's really what we're aiming for, is about a 2-inch wide strip. In case you guys are wondering, because we're going to do something with that. So I love this blue and purple color palette together. Oh, it makes me so happy. And we're actually going to glue this right here along this edge of this strip here, where that seam is. So I'm going to grab my glue. I go ahead and just glue this in place here. Nope, I'm going to add a little more glue here since that seems to be not fully adhered. Okay. Alright, so now I'm going to press this in place here, right in the middle. I'm going to wrap this around to the front and down to the back side here, lining this up. And we're going to go ahead and just glue this in place. I love the hot glue because it's a dry adhesive, so nothing's getting wet or warping as we're gluing everything in place here. Okay, now for the fun part. Oh my gosh, I just love ribbon. Look how fun this is. I had so much fun gathering ribbons for this project. Again, you guys can probably tell I'm kind of obsessed with ribbon. I love, 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 love it. I love the colors. I love the textures. It just brings me so much joy. Alright, so these are all of the fun ones we're going to be using for this project. Alright, so in this case, I'm going to use the snowflakes because it's kind of a wintry card, but just know that you could also use the silver leaves. That would also be really, really fun. So just know that you have options. Alright, so I wanted to use, the reason I told you those dimensions is because I wanted to use a strip in the middle of that purple, so you get that really nice contrast with that beautiful iridescent space looking ribbon. Alright, so I'm just going to go ahead and stick this to the back side right there on that little strip and wrap this to the front and go ahead and just tie a knot. Not pinching our paper too much here, but still making it look super fun. And just like I was doing in the last card, I'm going to use a bit of the hot glue right on that knot there. And I'm going to kind of press this here. I'm going to use my skewer tip end here to kind of press that in place. And you can glue it directly to the paper too if you'd like, if you're making this at home. And again, kind of pressing this in place here. So you get those kind of fun loops as we add more and more dimension here. What I love about ribbon is that it comes in all these amazing textures. So now next to this, my little floof that I have going on here, I'm going to add in this fun iridescent twine. And I'm actually going to do this from the other side here. So I'm going to start my little string. I'm going to hold this in place here in the middle as I wrap this around this direction. And I want it to kind of spread out like that. So I'm kind of doing that on purpose. And I want it to kind of end right here in the middle at my, again, I'm right here at my focal point. And again, I'm going to use my skewer tip so I don't burn my fingers here. Just kind of wrap and hold that in place. Okay. Then I'm going to use my other fun ribbons here. I'm going to go ahead and stick this one on here. My skewer end there. And I'm actually going to go underneath my iridescent if I can. I can! And I'm going to tie another little loop like so. And I'm going to go ahead and tie this into a knot. So we have our fun little loops here, and then I'm going to go ahead, put some glue here, and tie some more. So I'm just putting these little centers all right here kind of together, and that little end finishing off by pressing that to the middle. So now we have all of our loops, everything kind of coming together right there at that center, and this one's a little long, so I'm just going to bring that centered into the middle of that. Same thing for this guy. This guy's a little long, so I'm going to bring the center of that right down to the middle and press that in place. Okay. Oh my gosh, love it already. Alright, now I have my fun dark ribbon here. I'm going to go ahead and finish this off because it's even thinner than all the rest. Again, I'm going to hold this right here in the middle as I wrap this around. right here on the back side where all these little twines are coming together, I'm going to put a little dot of blue right in the middle of that iridescent one, so all of those stick in place. And I have my grosgrain ribbon there. We're going to go ahead and glue that in place there. Bring that around to the front. I'm going to put a little bit of glue on the back side of my little ribbon twine here. Again, use my little skewer tip here to press this in place right underneath that bow. And then we're going to do the same thing again with the rest of that twine, kind of pressing that in place there right at the center knot. And then from this back side here, once again, squirt a little bit of hot glue using our skewer tip to press this in place. And then I loop this, leaving a little bit of a tail out, and press that in place again. Okay. So now we have our fun center here. Now to finish this off and making it more holiday specific, we're going to go ahead and add in our snowflakes. I love the snowflake ribbon because you can literally just cut off little snowflakes and glue them in place. So we're going to go ahead and do probably 5. And you can arrange them however you'd like. I think for this case, I'm going to go ahead and put these, we can put them on the blue, but I think I'm going to go ahead and put these down here. And we'll add a couple here at the top. All right. And there we have our, oops, I'm going to go ahead and trim these guys down a little bit. Right. Okay. There we have our fun holiday winter packaging. Oh, so cute. Oh my gosh, I love how that looks. I just really love these colors. I love these iridescent, wintry looking colors. They're just so much fun. All right, I hope that gave you guys some fun ideas for wrapping up your holiday packaging. All right, I have more ideas for you. So here we go. Keep on going. I'm going with the flow here. All right. So the next idea I wanted to share with you was actually a really more natural looking idea. So I'm going to refer to this as brown bag packaging. So interestingly enough, I use this all the time for doing art. So I'm actually going to use the back side of this, and no, it's actually painted on here. So just ignore the fact that there's paint on one side of this. What's that one? Okay, so I'm going to go ahead and press this in place. Brown bag wrap is a really easy, inexpensive way to do wrapping with an amazing effect. Oh my gosh, it's just so much fun. There's so much you can do with it. You can make it shabby chic, you can make it natural, you can do your own art on it, you can do art, you can do prints with like vegetables and fruits. There's so much you can do with it. So I just want to share with you that if you're looking for an inexpensive way, I do sell rolls of brown bag paper at my shop. Hopefully shouldn't be talking while I'm wrapping, but that's what we're doing. Now that we have our brown bag packaging, and it's just, again, this is a used piece of paper, or of brown bag, of course, I already told you that. Okay, so I wanted to teach you about doing a really beautiful natural look. So I wanted to plot some fun, I wanted to plot some fun natural things for you. Pine cone from outside, literal sprigs from pine tree I have growing outside my house. Thought that was kind of a fun little element. To make it holiday specific, you can with some red. I'm just going to throw in some textured paper just to see what happens. there's just all these fun, beautiful textures. I love the natural elements here. This is just one of my all-time favorites. Okay, and all right, so natural elements here. All right, so when you're doing your natural elements, you can go ahead. There's just, again, so much you can do with this, especially if you have a piece of this paper. Oh, look, I have strips right here. Recycled pieces. This is perfect. This is exactly what I was going to tell you about. So if you have little strips of handmade paper, which I happen to have, you can use that in creating your packaging, because you only need a little bit of it. Actually, a little bit more than that. This is the second longest piece I have. Let's see how long this is. This will go all the way around. I don't think it will, but I'm going to try anyway. Oh, so close, but it is short. So I'm going to go with the shorter piece here. Or the skinnier piece, rather. Alright, so with the skinnier piece, I'm going to go ahead and lay this on here. Again, I'm going to start with my focal point. I want my focal point probably to be up here in the middle. So I'm going to wrap my handmade paper around. I'm just going to bring that to the front. Oh, let me make sure that my packaging here is actually tight. I'll come back and clean that up there in a minute. Oh, might as well just do it now. Actually, I'll come back to it. Okay. So now that I have my paper here in the middle, so now I'm going to go in and kind of make a little bit of a ribbony looking thing with my paper here. Make it look a little bit like a bow. Fold this back and then do a second one. Okay. Oh, love it already. Since I have more of this paper laying around here, might as well do the same thing. And we'll go in the other direction here. Okay, so now that I have my fun center here, I'm just going to do a literal little dollop of glue here as I lay on my natural sprigs from nature. Stick that in place there. And we're going to go ahead and start adding in the fun textures and all these other fun ribbons. I love this textured ribbon, but I really want to enjoy my handmade paper ribbon here, or my handmade paper that I'm using as ribbon here. I'm going to put a little bit of hot glue in place right there. I'm going to use all of my whole width of my textured ribbon here because I want it to overlap a little bit on this color here, but mostly I really just want I want to just enjoy the full texture because it's picking up my colors here of my pine. I'm going to wrap this around, and I'm going to pull this up a little bit and stick this on the underside here. I'm going to use my skewer. Alright, so we don't want to burn ourselves while we're adding in our ribbon here. And then we're going to go ahead and fold this back and stick this in here so we get our fun texture and loop. Just all kind of coming together here. Oops. We'll have to cover up that glue that we have in place there. Not a problem. I have the perfect solution for that. And you can, of course, always find little ones out there in the world, but I do happen to have a pine cone. So that can kind of be a fun way to kind of add an even more natural element to the mix. Then, of course, I want to add in this other fun textured ivory ribbon here. So I'm going to go ahead and cut little strips of that and glue that in place as well. And I'm just going to make little loops here and kind of tuck them in, kind of pressing into place. So I'm kind of getting this kind of loop effect. And because this loop is a little big, I'm going to grab that middle and press that into place as well. And then my second one, same thing. Since I knew that was a little big, I'm going to make a little double loop there. So I have 2 loops. I'm going to go ahead and press that in there into the hot glue. Alright, now time to add in my fun grosgrain ribbon, which is going to hold all my sentiment. Kind of arrange your pine cone to fit your needs there. And I'm going to go ahead and probably trim a little piece off here. My little loop end, that's where I'm going to apply glue. So that way I can just string my sentiment tag right onto that. I'm going to tuck this underneath here. Again, use my skewer tip to kind of press that in place. Then I'm going to cut these at an angle so I can easily string on my little tag. So my little white tag, my little ivory tag is what I've chosen. I'm going to string that on. And what I love about this, of course you can always trim this so it's not fibrous. You string that on, and then I have these little trees. So cute, these little ribbons. So I'm going to trim one of those off there, and you can stick that on the little tag. Isn't that so cute? Oops. Just realized I pulled on that before that was dry. I got a little too excited. There we are. So go ahead and stick this on. A little tree. This little loop here that's sticking up, I'm going to go ahead and put some glue on that and tuck that in as well, so that way it doesn't come undone by accident. And then we can write our to from sentiment on here too. So cute! Oh my gosh. So much fun. So now you get that fun holiday look. Of course, you don't necessarily have to go red and green, but you could, of course, add the pop of red with your textures as well. I decided not to incorporate the red because you don't always need it. And then we'll just add the little pine in there to cover up any little glue ends that might be showing. And there we have it. And any glue that is showing, it's not a problem because it'll probably look like dew anyway. You can also do a little bit of glue and sprinkle on a little bit of glitter if you wanted to add a snowy look to the effect. But there we have it. Alright, you guys. Those are my fun ideas and tips and tricks for you for the holiday. I hope that you guys learned a lot, had lots of fun,